All right, guys, I'd love to welcome everybody to the second to last live stream of 2021 here as we look to close out the year. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you guys. Couldn't do the channel without you. Absolutely. Title of this video implies that each and every one of you guys have a special spot in this. And it can be from a small capacity as a beginning investor. It can be someone with 7-8 figure portfolio. Absolutely. We don't discriminate on the channel here. Always trying to promote a positive environment here in an environment that is sometimes gets a bad rap. And anytime there's money involved, emotions run high. And, it's interesting too. A lot of people can get involved with stock market investing and they're ill prepared to make money. And it gets misconstrued as something that can come easy, and it doesn't. It takes an immense amount of work. It takes an immense amount of mental perspective. It takes an immense amount of evolving with your craft, staying hungry, paying attention, all those things that I look to impart to those investors out there that are looking to make sense of this gig. And so as we close out 2021, I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for being part of the movement. I throw down a little bit different on the channel. I look at the channel as kind of the tip of the spear. But I think that the spear itself is what represents the real value in the channel itself. In that, if look, you're looking to earmark your first $100 of invested capital, and you've got that motivation spark here on the Independent Investor channel, right on, man. That accreditation back to the channel is huge. In that maybe they would have found it somewhere else, or they wouldn't have found it at all. And I think people really need to take a step back and look at what it is that they really need in life. I think to prioritize your needs and wants is absolutely critical when looking to justify the opportunity to earmark some surplus capital, put it to risk in the stock market, and the benefits can be outstanding. The irony in that whole thing is people give up the short term substantiation and the reaffirmation when they make purchases in the short term. They give up some of that to put some capital to work in the market. But I think it goes beyond sacrifice. I think it speaks to an acknowledgement of people who are lucky enough to have a little bit of surplus capital. And I'm not talking about much, guys. I'm talking about for the very beginning investors out there that can earmark the first $25 of surplus capital, maybe in a starting salary or a starting budget. Maybe you're just starting out in life. Maybe you're going to school, going to college, trying to achieve a degree. Maybe you've started that job and you're not making a whole lot. And that's where this program really starts to pick up. And it's really where we dissolve away with the idea that you can't do something, and we start to entertain the idea that you absolutely can do something. I talk about my roots all the time, and I remember the decisions and what went into that in starting my investment journey, starting with that first Roth IRA account, selling my first car, splitting it into the Roth IRAs, the ones that I disclosed to you guys on the channel. That's just my story, but it's not so far removed from a lot of people out there, man, that can have similar situations. A little bit of just you know downright, hey man, I'm going to make a change, and I'm going to pull out this $500, this $1,000, and put it toward my financial future. And I think it's that impasse, it's that critical impasse where you're trying to break a big barrier down, because a lot of people will push that barrier off. They really will. Yeah, I'll get to it next year. Here we'll come into 2022, and there will be people that have been saying that for years and years, and they'll never start. And then the next year will come around. Hell, I've had people sit down and talk to me directly, and they were all fired up about investing. But, I'll talk to them 3 months, 6 months down the line. Hey, did you ever start what it is we talked about? No, I'll get around to it, man. I'm really sorry. Plus, you don't have to be sorry for me. You have to justify those decisions to invest or not to invest for yourself. And I'm not saying you're wrong or right. Market burns up, goes to hell in a handbasket. All of us investors are going to be stuck holding an awful heavy bag. But I think the reality of the situation is that you're probably taking on more risk to your future by not taking what surplus capital you can leverage to risk over the course of your life, really just to take a pledge to yourself that the dollars that you earn, you don't need to spend all of them. You know, compartmentalize those expenditures into those sunken costs that you know that you're going to have to be on the hook for. Okay, food, fuel, rent, insurance, things like that, house payment, whatever it is that you deem. Throw one additional category in there as a bonus. And I think when a lot of people do that, I think they'll find that, wow, month over month, I should be doing much better than I am. In other words, I don't understand why I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I'm bringing in $2,000 to $2,500 a month. We should be only spending $1,900. Where's the remaining $600 going? And it helps you to identify some of those windfalls in your program. And when you take that pledge to yourself, you say, you know what? I don't need to continue along this habitual type of lack of discipline in my spending. Where do you turn? Do you turn to the savings account? Do you turn to investments? Do you turn to some other form of investment that could put capital to risk? And to each his own, honestly. As I've evolved in my program, I've really done away with criticizing, for a lack of better terms, other people's program. I just don't care. As little as you do, I will support you. And as much as you do, I will support you. As long as the common thread between those situations is that you show a little bit of humble application, and that you acknowledge that at some point, if you started investing, whether or not you were given a bunch of money or whether or not you started with scratch nothing, we all were there at some point. And I think that's something to remember, man, when you're all part of the independent investor community or another. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be mine. It can be something that you do as just kind of a self-fulfilling type of an initiative for yourself. Maybe it's just part of a goal that you have. Maybe you can come into the channel every now and then, and I really do try to drive on this project once a week because it's super important to continue to foot stomp that financial fitness element of your life. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, days like this are fun. It was a wonderful day in the market. It's been a wonderful day the last 3 days. I posted to my group today that, Santa Claus rallies can be made up in a couple of days. And the last 3 days have been on fire. My goodness, it's just been fantastic. Really, hopefully for me, put on a little bit of a cherry on top of what has been kind of a tougher year for me. I'll go through some of those things that I've deemed as positives this year in the portfolio, investing, life, etc. A lot of wonderful advancements in my life. The portfolio has done everything that I've asked it to do and then some. It's just been kind of a static application for me this year. Some of the strategic initiatives I've just carried true and held true on them throughout the year, just like I always do. Nothing's going to change into 2022 as we enter into a new year. But I do have some strategic goals earmarked in the portfolio. It's great to see everybody in the gallery here tonight. Thank you for allowing me to throw down on a Thursday. I don't know how much reception we'll get, but I get just about as much out of this project as you guys do. I just enjoy the heck out of it. And I appreciate you guys allowing me the opportunity to throw down once a week and talk about financial stewardship and how we can empower one investor at a time. Be back in just a second. Cheers to you guys. Fantastic. hmm Taking some well-deserved time off. Time off for me is chilling and making YouTube content, and this is not work at all. I've been relaxing, still hitting the gym for sure. I'd recommend if you guys were looking on taking on one of those scary life challenges, hit the gym more. Do what you got to do. I don't like crowded gyms, so I don't go. The gym that I have right here suffices. It's free of charge. I walk 50 feet and I'm there. Um, Amazing how much better of an applicator you can be in all facets of your life when you integrate a exercise program. You know, diet's important. I have a harder time with diet just because I'm a foodie, but I do a pretty good job keeping stuff in moderation. And moving into 2022, that'll of course be one of those goals. And I don't set New Year's resolutions to where I write them down and then I forget about them. I'm constantly reviewing over what it is that we've got. I'm in the process right now of reincorporating the independent investor channel. It's something that's been long overdue. And I'm proud to do it. 2021 earmarked fantastic project through the independentinvestorgroup.com through Shopify. Probably one of the flagship projects that we did here, initiating the Viper group and sitting across from a number of different people and helping them in their individual causes and trying to earmark some of those things that I enjoy through investing and kind of helping them see that end a little bit. Because I think I sense a lot of people when they get involved with investing, and maybe it was like that when I started too. I just went in at it full force and made as many mistakes as I had successes anyway. And perhaps maybe there's a lot of people out there that are maybe more careful as they should be, and maybe I should have been when I started investing, to maybe just try to seek out those answers before jumping in head over heels and making a half a dozen mistakes before you get it right and everything. I'm just a bull and I don't have patience, so that's just me. I typically don't apologize. I typically I enjoy the voice that I have through the Independent Investor channel because it's one of those things where I get to come on and I get to share my perspective about wealth and what it means to me, and about how it's actually less about money and more about disconnecting from your money is really the key. And the more you can kind of buy into some of those philosophies about investing, I think the better off you'll be, the more perspective you'll have about this gig, and understanding that, life is a finite gift. And the more you can resonate with that idea, I think the more you can carve out a lifestyle that doesn't require you to spend every waking dollar that you have. Um, it's amazing to me how much older I get, the less I care about money, and the more money I have because of it. To find the irony in that, you can if you'd like. I put out my video here this week on millionaire status and what it's going to take to get there. That mindset has been with me for 20 years. So if you guys just think for some reason I'm falling on tilt and I'm just now getting laser focused on this goal, it's more inevitable now. It was more of a pipe dream before. I think a lot of people, maybe even if they have the courage to say, "Hey, I want to have some wealth into my future." It doesn't have to be a millionaire, but I want to have some significant wealth. If you're brave enough to even say that, um, and furthermore put yourself on a path, maybe to march toward that end, I tip my hat to you. Those are the types of motivated people that really motivate me, and they come from all different walks of life. Trust me. Okay. It's not always about the white picket fence, man. Trust me. And the big house and the two beautiful cars in the driveway. It's not always like that. There's people who tune into this channel from a global perspective that live completely different lifestyles than we here in the US are sometimes consumed by. Yes, very lucky to enjoy. It's a wonderful lifestyle, a lot of modern conveniences. And a lot of what I do is try to fight a lot of those modern conveniences and not be subject to them all the time. I think it's really important for you to continue to realize where your roots are, and to continually remind yourself about where you came from and what it is that you value in this life. That'll help you keep your ground and keep your center, whether or not you've got $10,000 invested, or whether or not you've got that $500,000 mark. Okay, something to take the bank for you. Absolutely. Okay, I got some stragglers coming in now. Fantastic. It's great to see the gallery kind of fill out. I really appreciate this. Very cool. Got Susan's in the group here. Merry Christmas to you, Susan. Thank you for making your way on. I've learned a lot from my mistakes. That's why I say that tongue in cheek, and that you don't fear mistakes. I wouldn't be who I am without all the dumb moves that I look back and say, boy, what could it have been? But then again, I'm also not very fair to myself in reflection and saying, gosh, by nature of putting that chance on the table, a lot of the times it works out. I will furthermore say this. I've relied on a lot of people in my life. It's amazing to me how much success I can earmark on projects that were generated and garnered by myself and myself alone. And I think you guys can resonate with this. It does not always have to be a product of somebody else's imagination that helps get you where it is that you need to be. But she says they haven't been too bad, but could have been. Oh, I think we've all circumvented a few landmines in our life, have we not? Um, I don't regret any of it. I've put my life on the line. I don't regret any of it. I don't regret any of the decisions that I've ever made where I've put fate on the table and it's made me who I am. And don't ever apologize who you are. For in whatever capacity. Life has a lot of different ways of chipping away at certain slices. You think you've got the spiritual side licked, and the relationship side bites you, and you get a tough roll for a while. Raising the kids, sometimes that can be a real challenge and can chip away with you. And you can think you've got the financial stuff all dialed in, and then boom, you get a you get something thrown at you, a curveball in the market, and you're like, woe is me. Wonderful. I'm invested in the market here on a 50% haircut. It must be me. I'm cursed. It's a mistake. I think the successful mindset calls for having an extremely short memory. And I dwell on stuff for about an hour or two, and then it's over. It's over. I don't. I don't dwell on stuff. As a matter of fact, if you asked me to remember something from last week, I'd be hard pressed to do it, because the God's honest truth, Susan, I spent the majority of my time thinking about the future, not the past. Merry Christmas to you, and thank you for coming in and sharing your thoughts with us. I really appreciate it. Absolutely. Yeah, I haven't seen Michael for ages. It's great to see you, my friend. It's great to see you. Merry Christmas to you. Value my mechanical engineering education. That's where I've been the past year or so. Welcome back. And you just made something that we don't talk about enough, is the investment that you've made in yourself. That's how I look at my career. I could go back to college as well, and get my business degree, which is all of my undergraduate. I'm about in between my associates and my bachelor's degree in business administration. But in my current job, it's like OJT, and I love it. So I'm hard pressed to go seek out a paper degree when I'm earning a phenomenal salary to do what it is that I love to do. But congrats to you. That's fantastic. I'm really proud of you, and the sky's the limit for you. Now that you've got that pedigree, you're just improving all facets of your life. And kudos to you, my friend. Hats goes off to you. Absolutely love it, man. Good stuff. Jonathan's in the house. Fantastic. You'll love the content. The stocks went Empire Strikes Back this week. Yeah, I just, boy, what can I say? Guess I could come on and just profess to be the greatest investor of all time. We know that's not the truth, and I'll say that about you guys as well. You're not either. It's like taking a wolverine and trying to corral him. taking a wild animal and trying to tame it, to the point where we can make some sense of it. I think there's some there's a real disconnect in what the tried and true method is for investors out there looking for exposure to the market, or whether or not the self-directed path. I'm seeing all kinds of solicitations now for self-directed investing, and I was hard pressed to find any outside of my message when I uploaded my first YouTube video 4 years ago. It just was not a concept that was very popular. And it's okay. I'll continue to write the script, and eventually people will start to pick up the phone. If they don't, it's their loss. I don't I don't care. I just don't care. For the people that get to tune into me every single week free of charge on at least the live stream, you just subscribe to the channel and just catch the live stream. Okay. If you don't want to sell out and watch a YouTube channel religiously, which I can't blame you. I don't do that crap either. I don't have that kind of time. I don't watch YouTube. Social media. I got into a little bit of back and forth this morning on Twitter, and I was like, what am I doing? What a waste of my time. I don't get paid for that shit. Waste of my freaking time. I've got better things to do with my time. So I dropped 3 YouTube videos this morning, and that's just what I did. But yeah, it came back. It was nice. It was a nice validation. Today was close to a $10,000 day for me. I've gotten used to this fluctuation with the size of the portfolio, and as you manage more money, you do get kind of used to the fluctuations. And that 2021, in retrospect, has been seemingly a lot more down days. Hyliion has not helped in that capacity at all. 2021 year to date down 67%. You can argue all you want about how awesome that is. I beg to differ. I think it's 0 out of 10. I think they get a 0. And I've been critical on the company, and therefore people are critical on me. That's great. I don't need anybody's validation. I don't need anybody's approval. I don't need anybody to agree or disagree with my opinion. I don't care who you are. I don't care. The name independent means a lot to me, and that's exactly what you get when you come to the channel. And if you can shave off a little bit of independence for yourself, you could probably benefit for it, because in this life, a lot of people that I see do way too much following and a whole lot, a little of leading. And that's what we need more of. We do. Okay. We sure do. I appreciate the comment. Merry Christmas to you, Jonathan. Thank you very much. It was a good bounce back. I take it tongue in cheek. I really do. So a lot of fun. And Becky, I love you. Great to see you. Tell the hubby I said hi. Merry Christmas to you and the family. You are blessed indeed. I'm just happy to know you. I really am. There's been a few highlights the last couple years of the channel. Becky's one of those rare highlights in the relationships that we've been able to build, and kind of understand how we can fill gaps both ways, to be honest with you. And hopefully she looks at the independent investor channel as a springboard to something better. Margaritas, perhaps. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. And it's just great to see you. And you really do epitomize what it is that I consider to be success on this mission. No doubt about it, Becky. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being part of it. Really appreciate it. Very cool. Says, I'm here for group therapy. Well, this is YouTube. Remember, okay? Do the best I can and provide some motivation anyway. I swift kick in the ass. I don't know what it is. As a social media influencer, and I can be influential, as I should be. I watch my videos. The channel that I watch the most on YouTube is mine. I do. It's the most interesting to me. And I had somebody come on to one of my live streams and say it's like a drunken guy at a bar. So the opinions vary across the spectrum on what it is that you get out of the message, and to each his own. No problem. No love lost. Don't waste your time. If you can't get a message from something like mine, man, no problem. Go follow somebody else. No love lost, man. It's not a big deal. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just means you made a choice. It's no problem, man. I totally understand the gig. I totally understand it. At least holistically. I've had to learn to understand, block out some of the things that I don't appreciate. about social media, and that's okay. Maybe it's just my age. I'm not a young person. I don't get influenced by people who come in and like my shit or dislike it. I just don't care. That doesn't affect me. You shake my hand correctly, that'll impact me. I'm into reality. I'm into real relationships. I'm not into, getting into a Twitter war. I'm not interested in that shit. It's a waste of my time. All right. So I think a lot of people they like to say what they can say through social media because it is an unabated platform. In that, I'm not going to sock you in the jaw for saying something idiotic to me because you're not saying it to my face. All right, stuff, man. And Jared Odell's been with the channel for many, many moons, my friend. Merry Christmas to you. It's very cool. Very cool. It's great to see you. Says, I'm excited about another year. Well, I mean, you should be. Investing is not a one-way street. It's a lot of different perils and pitfalls. And when I look back over my investing career and my opportunity, it's provided me no shortage of challenges and premature sells, stocks I should have held and stocks I should have sold, and vice versa. And if you start getting into that routine, you drive yourself crazy, I think. But when you chalk it all up, I think the stock market is is a very powerful wealth building tool. And if you can keep your head about you, at least partially, you'll do just fine in this raucous and ways to kind of control that defensive posture you take in the market and protect yourself from what I consider to probably be one of your worst enemies, and that's you. So invest for the future. Don't invest to substantiate your position tomorrow or next week or next month or next year. Don't do that. Don't do that a bit. All right. You got to substantiate your position in it when you're looking to retire, man. Set that target date down the line. You'll be good to go. It's just that simple. But it's great to see you, my friend. Thank you so much. And Jay just popped in on the bottom here, man. Merry Christmas to you and the fam. Same to you, my brother. Really appreciate it. 2022, man, buckle up. It's gonna be big. And some of those network folks that I've met through the channel, Jay's one of them. He's right there on the top 5. Can you count them on one hand? Yeah, I can. I can. I don't really have a network of a bunch of people that I hold in the highest regard anyway. Jason's my number one sponsored channel on the Independent Investor channel. He'll continue to hold that spot. He's a family man. He's a hardworking guy. I've got tuned into his sports card memorabilia show more than JMac investing. Like I admitted, man, I don't watch a lot of other investing YouTube channels. Some of those channels I started watching, man, like Gen X Dividend Investor, his project is doing great. Joe Carlson projects are doing great. JMac's got about half a dozen projects. I can't even keep up with it, but at least that's the one I do follow. He's traveling all over doing his vlogging and the sports card memorabilia business. Kind of a fun thing. Something that I wish I had more time to do. It might be kind of fun because I've got a pretty robust collection myself. So Merry Christmas to you, Jay. Appreciate the banter this morning on Twitter. Really appreciate it. That was fun. Looking to challenge the status quo, man. You know me. I don't shy away from that crap where a lot of people do. I don't. I sure don't. I appreciate you coming on, brother. All right. I'm just not having a rental. Yeah, this is killing me, man. Killing me. This has been kind of a weird deal for us, and it's a means to an end. When you travel as much as me, and you in the military, and subject to moving every 3-4 years, uh, it's tough, man. It's starting to get to me. The older I get, I'm going on 17 years, 2022, 17 years, and I'll do 30. Stick and stay, make it pay. That's what I learned commercial fishing in Alaska. We used to say it all the time to mind F ourselves into thinking that what we were doing is normal. It was not normal, my friends. It was not normal, but it's what we had to do because you would sit there and work for hours and hours and hours and not make a dime. and you'd wait for that tide to change, man, and all of a sudden, boom, you're making 500 an hour, you know? And so stick and stay, make it pay, man. And don't ever shy away from the prospect of grinding down and getting to work, getting to work. That's why I approach my highly on position the way I do. I won't sit idly by and just be like some of these other bitches with like 3 or 400 shares and just bitch up and down about this and that. Yeah, I offer criticism, but it's well founded, man. I offer my criticism. I could be wrong in that my presumptions about the company are ill-founded in what's going on behind the scene. That's just the perspective I have, and I comment on it, right? But the reason why I come out with those videos here as of into the fall and into the winter on Hyliion is it gives me that voice. It gives me that voice to say, hold on a sec, man. Something's not right, man. Something's going astray. And it might be a combination of a lot of things: short interest, right? Supply chain shortages, the company not being able to meet forecasts the way that they forecast when the original investor presentation came out, you know, doing a lot of great things, but unfortunately being overshadowed by what this beast is, and it is the stock market, and it is the great separator. Okay, you cannot hide. If you don't want to be public, go private. Otherwise, stay tuned for scrutiny because you're going to have it. It goes both ways. When they start to have some positive accolades shower down on them, which I think that they will, sky's the limit, baby. Sky's the limit, and that's the way it's going to happen, man. Matt, thanks for throwing down before I was in the gallery there. Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Get well. It sounded like you were a little under the weather, man. Take all goods advice and drink some turmeric and some hot milk. She's trying to take care of you. Some turmeric and hot milk 3 times a day. She says it'll knock that stuff right out. Right, all good. See, our spiritual leader. Me, I prefer Jack Daniels. I never get sick. Never. Of course, then again, I'm at the gym at 0500 every single day. You guys, you guys come with me, man. You're welcome. Let's make it a thing, man. You want to make it a community thing, man? Let's go to the gym at 5 o'clock, man. Appreciate the comment anyway, man. Honestly, most all SPACs have the same, they'd have same chart. That's exactly one of my 2 comments for the gents who came on before me. Don't think it's much highly on it. Is the group of stocks to totally agree. That's why I lump it into that category of really, and it trades in correlation where today Hyzon and 𝑪𝑎𝑛𝓋𝐴 traded up. Hyliion didn't come out with any news. It wasn't the Twitter post that moved the stock. It was the 𝑪𝑎𝑛𝓋𝐴 LOI, and it was the Hyzon who have been in good favor. That has hindered Hyliion because when Hyliion has good news, they really do trade in correlation. It's quite amazing to me. I took a token position today in both of them. Fuck it, I just bought it all. EV, man. I bought some Hyzon, much less of a position than I have in Hyliion, but I also bought some 𝑪𝑎𝑛𝓋𝐴. To hell with it. Now I own the whole space. Now I could care less. 𝑪𝑎𝑛𝓋𝐴 can go to 0 or it can go to 100. I really don't care. Hyzon's making moves, and they're making moves on the international stage, which is pretty awesome. And one thing that Hyzon and 𝑪𝑎𝑛𝓋𝐴 have probably above Hyliion at this point is how advanced they are on their hydrogen fuel cell technology, which you cannot ignore the value there. I just still question who the hell is going to buy these things without the infrastructure built out. But man, I've been watching the market miss this for months and months and months. And I figure if there's going to be any winners out of the space, which I think all 3 will win, I think it'll be those 3 on the cusp of the easy EV wave over the next 5 years. So I went ahead and took a small position in each of those 2 companies. I could be a dog for it. It's not a big deal. But I think we saw the bottom in Hyliion. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody. So, and I also don't, to your point, I don't really consider the run up to $58 as credible. I look at Hyliion as at a base position of $10. Stock's down 40% right now if you use that metric. And in all fairness, it should have never been at 58. In all fairness, it should have never dipped into the 5s. But if you look at it here in their first full year of public markets, stocks down just under 40% right here. So I just chopped that big mountain off the top, and it doesn't seem so bad. Now we invest going forward. What happened in the past doesn't even matter. It will break away from the pack. Um, Perhaps there's going to need to be some catalysts, you know. Hearing Thomas Healy talk in the Q2, not Q3, Q2, about the OEM hubs. He was pressed on this, kind of dodged the question a bit. I need to understand a little bit more about what it is they have solidified with OEMs. Okay. OEM hubs, great. I need to understand a little bit more about how we're going to integrate. We have one OEM right now. We need to get the rest. I mean, Freightliner, Mac, all of them. They've got to all come on board with Peterbilt. Peterbilt will help provide some leverage once those are turned off the lines. But I don't see, that's the thing, Jay, is they can't do 2,000 or 3,000 Hypertruck ERX orders per year and survive. That's keeping the lights on, brother, at a 35% margin. They've got to sell tens of thousands of units. They sell tens of thousands of units. This is 100 plus stock, right? But that's the disconnect. Are we going to continue to piece together 100 truck orders? Are we going to continue to piece together these, to where the year's end, we're looking at 2,500, 5,000 orders? That's not going to be enough. And if the EX hybrid unit falls off the way Thomas has alluded to now twice, which has really disappointed me, because I think the EX hybrid is a beautiful product. It's being used by Detmar right now. If it ends up kind of falling off due to the Cummins competition, which I just don't see that happening, then the Hypertruck ERX can't handle the load. And a lot of those sales projections had about a 50-50 mix between the two products sailing in the open market and helping with that bottom line. The margins on the EX hybrid weren't even near as good as the ERX, but at least it would help. But you need some catalysts, you need time, obviously, is the recipe for that. And it'll be fun. They've done nothing but prove that they can garner orders. And I believe that they will continue to solidify that order book. I want to see when this supply chain shakes out. I want to see a backlog of orders of 10 to 15,000. Agree or disagree? Those are the catalysts that we're going to need, brother. We'll see what happens. All right. Appreciate the comment, man. Very cool. All right, man. All y'all, Warren Buffett's Berkshire buys Dominion. That's correct. Would be interesting. Yeah, but we've talked about this a little bit. Natural gas is the play. Hyliion is a natural gas play, specifically renewable natural gas. The permits and the build outs are happening right now. It's a fantastic initiative, and I think there's going to be certain routes that call for that. I think there's going to be certain routes that call for an all electric BEV route. Which companies are going to opt for Tesla. They're going to opt for a Nikola or a Hyzon product. That's just how it's going to roll. And the industry is enormous, $800 to $1 trillion business here. Every single one of these guys can play. I mean, they can get in on the normal cycle and rotation of revolving the trucks in and out of the cycle and looking to integrate electrification over the years as they rotate their old trucks and reorder the new. They don't have to dominate the entire landscape. I think the other Hyliion catalyst is to go global. And that's going to be the metric that I look at. I won't consider selling my stock until I'm satisfied with them going global. And I think that's a multi-year project. Now you're talking about ultra long on holding Hyliion, not 5 years. 5 years, I think this stock is going to be nowhere near it is right now. It will not. Okay. But when you're talking about realizing maybe a potentially multi-generational type of opportunity with nat gas, maybe potentially the availability of hydrogen fuel cell being a lot longer down the line than what we're projecting now, in that we can just snap our fingers and the infrastructure's there. I don't see that happening. I think renewables and natural gas is going to be in play for a long, long time. I really do. It's cost beneficial even at break even, because I think even at break even, if they can get better performance on the torque, increase the payload, and they can go green, which the pressure is there on these companies to do so, they'll do it even if they can draw a net neutral comparison in the diesel equivalent, which right now it's favorable. But even if natural gas, the price goes up, I think companies would still switch to a Hyliion solution to go green and to increase the torque and to fly the flag of green. I think that means more to them than anything. Guys, they waste Anheuser-Busch, what's their advertising budget for all you football fans out there? J-Mac's like, yeah, I know, Ryan's $5 billion a year or $5 billion a quarter or whatever it is. It's astronomical. Think about the advertising benefit of a company like an Anheuser-Busch that gets to fly the green flag by integrating a few trucks into their fleet. It just makes sense. Yep, just makes sense. But so does this. It was one of my catalysts that I named on one of my videos that I put out on perhaps maybe a big whale stepping in, which is actually what happened today. A whale stepped in and bought a ton of Hyzon, a ton. Big position, 1.7 million, I believe. I don't know. I hope I'm not getting my Shiba Inu crossed up with my Hyzon in my research this morning when I was checking out what the catalysts were this morning. But there was a big stake in Hyzon. And that's what moved the stock today. But it'll just take that for a company like Hyliion to pick up a big whale like that as well. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already, but they just don't have the sales to boast like Hyzon does. So that's where we are. Good stuff, man. It's international. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I don't see it either. I don't put these two companies in the same ballpark. I'm still kind of scratching my head as far as what the favor Nikola gets in the marketplace. But like I said, meh. I bought 250 shares of it, nothing crazy. I bought 500 shares of Hyzon today, and then I still own 8750 of Hyliion with an obligation to buy 5,000 more. So I'm on the hook for 12,500 of Hyliion right now. Never been happier. I had to sell 4,000. It broke my heart. Really killed me. I knew the stock was going to go up. I was just stuck in a disconnect between not wanting to really hold the bag if it went even further down, but I did go ahead and liquidate that to take some tax loss harvesting on the 2021 position. It was the right thing to do. Didn't bat an eye. No problem. I'll still hold my long, strong position. We're good to go. Yep. That's how it shook out, man. Let's jump in and do some portfolios real quick, guys. It was kind of cool. I'll do them real quick. I did update them for you guys. Here's the taxable. There's the Nikola Hyzon. Threw that in there for you. No other changes. Lockheed Martin was an increase this week. I'm kicking myself in the ass for not picking up Boeing at 190, doubling up that position. I didn't. I retained my 10 shares, and I'm kind of kicking myself. I really wanted to own that ultra long, and I didn't. I wanted to own it for its government business, which Lockheed Martin is right there. Their F-35 contracts, I doubled up on that. Lockheed's undervalued right here. So I own 25 shares of Lockheed right here. Super stoked on that. But we're up. We were up across the board after a day like today. I think there was one account that was down a couple bucks, and I was the only one. Here's the Roth 1. No changes here either. I did increase my SoFi position on this dip. Pick it up sub 15. Good to go. I'm happy with that. It's right on the precipice of where I want to be. TAC Global's taken over the world, 17 retailers in England alone. Just a fabulous product, man. And super stoked to see that product and more availability. They're going to be launching their mega campaign here in 2022. Hopefully the uplisting will happen as well, but super bullish on TAC Global as well. That's another big one for me in the spec category. Those are a lot of fun. Everything else doesn't change. ONL, I believe, was the spinoff from Realty Income. I boosted that position up to 75 shares. Nothing else too crazy in here. Nah, we're looking good. You know, one of the themes for 2021 for me was just to hold true on a lot of positions, and that's what I did. Alibaba been just an absolute bitch in the portfolio. It's been really bad. ExxonMobil, we've held that for 5 years plus. That's really coming back nicely. I'm bullish on the prospects of Exxon going forward. Um, with their projects. It was Guyana as to why I invested in them 4 years ago, and I've held them ever since. And it has not materialized, but I think it will. I think Exxon being the big volume producer, there's always going to be a need for oil and diesel and crude, whether or not you like it or not. It's you can argue with me up and down. It's just not going away. So, and I added SoFi into this account. I added 150 shares in here, just to own it, but nothing else crazy here. The passive VIG is just doing really well. VPU is outperforming right now. That's the utilities ETF, and just doing absolutely fabulous. This one, I thought we were going to meet that 20,000 mark. What an amazing threshold here. March 5th of 2018 is when I started this account. So I've had it for just almost 3 years. Spring of this year will be the 3-year mark on this portfolio. Look at that. If you were a beginning investor and you looked at that and said, man, I could get to 20 grand in 3 years just by dollar cost average in the market, you'd think I'm crazy. But what's new? What is new? It's just a way, a method. I looked at this and I thought, man, this could be a standalone portfolio. When I started investing, I wish I would have done it this way. I bought AT&T and Kraft Foods and had a mutual fund. That was my first portfolio. I'm sharing this for you guys. Tell me I'm not streamlining information to you, or try to do it on your own, I guess. But to do or not to do, you don't have to invest like me. It's the idea is to give you ideas and to kind of show maybe how you can bridge that gap from nothing to something special without having to go through all the winding and the learnings that have to go into investing before you learn all this stuff. And then the dividend growth portfolio. We just had this turned 2 years old 3 days ago. I started it December 20th of 2019. So I've had this portfolio for 2 years on the nose. This is absolutely whipping some ass. I'm hard pressed to not get an email almost every single day with 79 holdings in there paying dividends all the time. This is special. This is going to turn into something really special, man. We want to get this up to 100, 100 and a half and, really start that snowball effect. I don't think there's a better account that allows you to do it than M1 Finance. I really don't. I think it's really special. And then the bond portfolio, this is one that I shot today. I'll probably release it sometime early next week to chronicle how it is. I seek out some Vanguard bond exposure. This is really just to supplement and offset some of the idle cash. So instead of holding 100% idle cash, I segue dollar cost average into this bond portfolio. It does quite well. It renders 3% on the clip. So at least I'm not losing out to inflation. This is built to pace inflation. That's it. I'm not looking at this to do anything magic for me. I'm just looking at this as another wealth building avenue, and to ignore bonds, might be a touch short-sighted. I will say I'm not a big advocate of bond investing for most all young investors out there because it can put a hamper. There's no reason for you to do it. In my case, makes sense. I'd like to have 50 to 100 grand if I had $1 million portfolio someday. Makes sense for me and my tolerance and palate to risk to have 10% in bonds. So that's the goal. We're 1% of our goal, and we'll get there. We'll build this up to 100 grand over time. It just takes time and it takes effort. That's all it ever takes. And here's the TSP chugging right along. Strategic goal for this might be to get this sucker up close to 100 in a conducive market. We can do it. 10 years ago when I started this account, I thought when I retired, I would have this at 100 grand, and we're staring this down 11 years after starting it. Nothing shy of impressive. Couldn't be happier with the progress of this. So this is the equivalent of your guys' 401k, 403s, 457s, TSPs for a lot of you folks that are familiar with this. This is where it is. And I passively invest this. I don't touch this. That allocation stays exactly the same. 75% to the S&P 500, 15% to the small caps, and 10% to the international fund there. So Robinhood has got the Vanguard's growth, that $1,000 bill in there, nothing crazy. Webull has got the mid caps, 1,347. We were up week over week. The only one I was fractionally down on is Swiss Globex. We're at 41.21 in here. Took a little bit of a haircut in that holding. We're just waiting it through. She'll uplist in NASDAQ at some point next year. She'll be ready to go. We'll drop that news through the channel. I'm in direct contact with the CEO. Great guy, 𝗖𝐋𝐈𝖖𝐊. He's been on the channel before. He's due to be coming on the channel in 2022 with not only myself, but the network here at the Gents. So stand by for that. It'll be one of many offerings. If 2022 or 2021 was any indication about how 2022 is going to be, there'll be a lot more of that awareness stuff, and a lot of fun doing it. A lot of fun having those opportunities to share with you guys through the channel and what we've been able to garner. Crypto is on fire right now. Like you'd be hard pressed to find a stock that is performing the way cryptocurrency is performing as of the last 3 days. Shiba Inu is crazy. If you guys like really big roller coasters, go ahead and purchase some SHIB and become part of the SHIB army. It's not investing. I'm telling you, it's not. But I'll be damned if this son of a bitch doesn't have potential to do something. I don't know. Either it's going to go to zero or something incredible. I don't know. I don't know. I just laugh when I look at this. This is insane. But this has been the craziest portfolio that I've ever monitored. It's kind of fun. I do have an appetite for it, but you know, we'll see. But there's the portfolio value. $514,450 is what we're working with there. So, you know, it's been good. We'll close out at least on a good note, hopefully, barring any craziness next week. You know, we'll do our last live stream on New Year's Eve, the 31st, I believe, is Friday. So that'll be the last live stream of the year 2021. It's been good, you know. There's been a lot of ups and downs, and you know, a lot of challenges. Life would be boring without challenges, guys. Come on, you know, get tough. Every now and then you got to throw a punch. Throw it. Get hit every now and then, right in your face. Get aggressive with your application. You know, I'm not asking you to be something that you're not, but are you too lackadaisical about your approach? I mean, does that being lackadaisical, does it render results? If it does, wonderful. Teach me up. But I've only found that the only way that I can make sense of this deal over time is to stay on top of it. Okay. And anymore with my time and how I devote my time and parlay my time into this opportunity, I acknowledge when I'm not being productive, and it chews me up. It really does. It chews me up. I'm gonna scroll through here, make sure I didn't miss anything, man. It was great. Thanks for stopping in, Matt and Jay in the group here. It's fantastic. Build Wealth is in the group here. I appreciate that. You know, I think it'd mean more to me, I think, if somebody could spread the word for me. You know, it always means the most to me. Those are the intangibles. I know I've got a lot of people who enjoy coming in and hanging out and talking finances. It's a lot of fun. It's fun for me. I have fun. I'd do it with nobody if they came in here. This is my, God, how many live streams? Close to 400 live streams. Believe it or not. Yeah, believe it or not, man. It's just been insane. A lot of fun, but you know, I think there's potential there that we're making a difference. I do. And I always think about it this way. If I was 20 and I was talking to my younger self, what is it that I would need to say to get his or her attention? Right? And you guys find that common theme with me. I'm always trying to make it associate to life and why. If you just take $1,000 and you invest it in the stock market blindly and you have no idea why, you'll lose. You'll lose. You may win a little bit. Hell, you might just win 20%. Let's call it 50. You will lose if you don't understand why. You'll lose. Contrary, and this is the crazy ass part about investing, you can lose and you can come out a winner. It's all about the power of a positive mindset, man. Knowing the bounds of your limits is the key. And I've done it so many times over my life where a lot of people would have sold out. Like I look at this Hyliion position, for example, for me, as being one that I think the stock is probably at this point, I think it's shaken a lot of people. I think the few thousand people maybe in the retail community that I do know and respect who are convicted on the company, I think they're few and far between. I think Hyliion would have humbled a lot of people into just being like, this is effing crazy. Yeah, which I can say that. I can say it's effing crazy. But that has nothing to do with my stock disposition. The decisions that I put into my stock are well deliberated, well in advance of me even touching it. I make those decisions months. I was deliberating on the decision to take the tax loss on Hyliion for 2 months straight. And it was starting to affect my health. I've said that a couple times. It wasn't good. I'm a tough mother effer. And it wasn't good for me. It was a little over levered. Never thought it was going to get this deep. Should have accounted for that contingency, and it was my bad not to. It wasn't a bad or a good move. Those don't exist in stock market investing. They don't. You know, people come in the channel. I've got a few right now that are actively hating on my ass. Like, man, you're dragging people down with you. What are you doing, man? Give it up. Really? It always amazes me how people out there know what it is that's best for me. Okay. Furthermore, to bring other people into it and not look at it the way that I look at it, if you can buy 1,000 shares of Hyliion Holdings right now at $6 and whatever the hell it settled out at today, $6.50. Look at the upside potential, guys. It's life-changing, the upside potential. If it ends up materializing to that $65,000, which I contend that it absolutely will in time. When? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But 65,000 doubled over 21 years, you're a millionaire. So it's easy to scoff in the short term and start to pick at somebody who's down in the short term. And I just kind of raise my eyebrow and be like, I don't understand that justification in the short term. I just don't. The same people are justifying buying Tesla right here at 1,000 shares. Maybe a bad example, but there's a bunch other. Everybody thought that Alibaba was a huge buy at $250 a share. Look at it now. It's easy to jump on the shares now and say, see, it was horrible when everybody was on the bandwagon to buy Tesla. I could go down the list, man. This is how a lot of people apply in their stock market. As long as the stock is going up, it's somehow justification to buy the stock. And when it goes down, it's like the absolute opposite. You have to absolutely stay away from it. And I actually think the opposite of the way most people apply in stock market investing. A lot of the reason why I'm independent. And that's why for you guys, if you can take a small piece of that channel and apply it in your lives and your application, man, you'll be a lot tougher for it, man. Just like Rob says, man, happy holidays to each and every one of you guys. I really appreciate it. It'll be the last live stream of 2021. Thank you very much. I don't say it enough, but how many other YouTubers out there, man, really from the bottom of their heart, thank the community. This isn't about me. I could just really care less about, building an empire and putting myself on the top of that empire, a financial fortress. I could just give two shits less about that. What I do care about is those investors out there that are referred to the channel. You bet. Those beginning investors out there that maybe can get this information in their hands earlier than what I did. To the devout subscribers out there that maybe take a piece or a hybrid version of what they hear on the Independent Investor channel, apply it and find some success for themselves in their life. I think that's super key, man, when we're looking to put together a message that's more about the channel from a singular perspective and more about the movement and the mission. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Independent Investor Channel live stream. I do contend it is the fastest 60 minutes on YouTube. At least for me, it is. I'll see you next week, guys. I really appreciate you. Have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy that family. Take some time to focus on those things that are important in life, because those are really the most important things, and really nothing else matters. Guys, we'll check you next Friday. Take it easy, and we'll see you next week.